First thing I want to start off with is Braden. It seems to be kind of similar to James Rowe. Like when he starts hot, you just need somebody else to kind of complement him. And that was just something that wasn't there tonight. Just you talk about the struggles of finding his mark alongside of him.
Yeah, we kind of talked about Braden, and we're not sure if he exerts so much energy there early and gets hot that he kind of gets on an emotional high or just gas himself. But yeah, we need some kids to step up. But at the same time, I've told y'all all along I need to get better also, and I'm the one that puts them in the positions, so I need to do better or put them in the positions to succeed. That's something we're working through, and it's not perfect right now, but luckily we don't have to be perfect right now. But we need to start getting better and stringing some wins together.
What happened on that 12-0 run that they had to end the second half? I think it spanned close to 3 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe over that, but I mean, you got.
What happened is they're a dang good team. They're a very talented team. Kent does a great job with them. They're very well coached, and they're a good group of kids. When you lose concentration and focus and make a couple mistakes, they can capitalize on them pretty quick. It's not always sometimes it's what we do wrong, but sometimes it's what they do right and do well. So that's part of it, and the other part is we got to keep plugging and get plugging away and working on getting better.
What about the job Connor Fox did when he wasn't blocking shots, he was altering shots? How much of an impact do you think that had on the outcome, especially from the second on?
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that a lot, and in Southern West Virginia basketball, you don't see a lot of 6'8" kids that can move that well. He's a long, athletic kid, and that's what he does for them. That's part of what makes him so good defensively is you got the skill and the athleticism of their guards, and you got that guy in the backside, so they can use that to push up on you, and just affects you at multiple levels, not just at the rim, but it ball pressure gets even more. So yeah, man, it's a great asset to have, and they do a great job with it, and it's not taking anything away from them. They're a great team, but we need to obviously get better. But they're a top 2-3 team in AA for a reason.
25% shooting from the floor in the second half. Just talk about the offensive struggles. What did you feel changed?
Braden and Cooper didn't hit as many shots. They made some adjustments, and we started off so hot. Braden coming out and hitting a couple threes there in the first quarter, and then Cooper came in and got some there in the mid range. So, I need to do a better job of getting us in a position to where we can finish, and some easier shots. But even we had it in there low. And you got Connor Fox in there, but see you guys. Braxton Morgan might be their unsung hero. He's such a tough matchup. He's so daggone strong and athletic, and we thought we snuck one in there on him, and he comes from the opposite block and pins it on the backboard, and he's just they're a really talented group. We talked about with our kids, on Tuesday, we put ourselves in a little better position than we did on Monday. Tonight we were in a position, but when you make a couple mistakes, they're going to pounce on them and kind of make a run on us, and we just got to figure out a way to negate the runs and make one ourselves late in the game instead of being on the wrong end of it.
You play some of the tougher teams in the region. I mean, it's a tough week for you. The teams you were playing, your opponents you were playing. What did you learn about the region? Maybe you didn't know. The team went through like the game.
I didn't learn anything I didn't know because,
right.
Me and you actually talked about it, Dave, before we even started playing any games. This region is daggone brutal. It ain't just 1, 2, 3 teams. We're 4 or 5 deep at the top, and then we talked about these other teams that got some kids that can change a game on you and carry a team. So you got to bring it every night, and so far we haven't. It hasn't been our night, but we got to keep plugging away, and hopefully we can turn some of these bad nights into some good nights and get on a roll. But you know, we got Bluefield coming up at Bluefield on Tuesday, so it doesn't get any easier for us. So we got to get back to work and, you know, hopefully fix some things and get it changed before Tuesday.
All right. Appreciate your time,
Thank you,
Mike.
guys.